Hello, beautiful beings of light. It is Aurora from Translucent Truth Yoga, here to deliver you the weekly intuitive energy update for the week of February 7th, 2022. So if you've never been here before, welcome, and if you have, welcome back. I have a lot of information that has come through this week. I'm really excited to kind of unpack it. We're not going to be going into any astrology this week. I just didn't feel like pulling from any external resources. I just kind of went within my own life, my own consciousness, the external world and what's happening in that way, and just kind of tapped into kind of the main energies this week. Now it is a lot. There's a lot of different things. Like, it is very, very intense, but also we're really supported to step into these really intense energies, right? Because it's like basically like, when is enough enough? Right? Like, that's kind of the energy. Like, there's this one card that is between two worlds, and it's about having one foot in one world and one foot in the other, and that's totally okay. You can play both games, but there comes a point, there comes a certain threshold where you can't play both games anymore, and that's kind of this week, right? It's like, you know, there's been things that you know aren't serving you, but you're kind of okay with being unconscious of, and now you're kind of like, fuck this shit, like, I'm out of here, like, I don't want to do this anymore. This is not what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna focus on what I have power over. I'm gonna take my power back. I'm gonna take care of myself. I'm gonna nurture myself. I'm gonna learn how I can grow and evolve past this place that I'm in right now. Okay, so a lot of really beautiful, empowering energies. The divine masculine is rising to support the divine feminine. Okay, so there's I can't wait to get into all that. I also have some notes, guys, from, I found my November 22nd energy update paper, and I was just like so perfect because it's everything that I want to talk about as well. So I'm gonna read a little bit off of that. So if you are watching this, maybe go back to November 22nd as well and listen to that week, so that you can kind of pull more information as much as you need, right? Okay, so first things first, I'm gonna play, I just have my little sound bowls here, my little compared to those. So I'm just gonna kind of clear the energy here for anybody that's popping in today. And I might sing a song that I have. I don't need an instrument for it. It's just an a cappella song with some snapping. But yeah, so I'm just gonna tap in, clear some energy. We have an incense burning behind the camera, so we are releasing things as we go through this. So here we go. Activated me. It was a second too soon, a second too late. It doesn't really matter, alignment don't fake. You can't mistake the divine signs of our calling, of our ancestors' songs. And we sing the song of self-forgiveness and shake our bodies till dawn. We ask ourselves for forgiveness and forgiving each. Rhythm of the beat, rhythm of the earth, rhythm of the woman, the divine source of all creation, of child and man. Let's back up her wisdom and honor her land. Her body, all his creations, so divine and pure. My mother, can you hear me cry? My father, can you trust her to receive the signs? And we sing the song of self-forgiveness and shake our bodies till dawn. We ask ourselves for forgiveness and forgiving each. Rhythm of the beat, rhythm of the earth, rhythm of the woman, the divine source of all creation of child and man. Let's back up her wisdom and honor her land. Yes, I had to mention this because it's so perfect with everything that's going on right now, guys. So we're releasing, we're honoring the divine, we're connecting into our wisdom, our inner wisdom, our ancestral wisdom, which in order to access the wisdom, we must heal the trauma of our ancestors within our own being, right? So over time, generational trauma is passed down, which is just trauma that isn't actually dealt with and healed. So then what happens is it gets sent on to the next generation, right? And so there's this thought that 7 generations down the line is kind of where we're healing from. So say you're healing in this now moment, you're going to be healing the 7 generations behind you and the 7 generations ahead of you. Okay, and not only that, like this is such a massive collective healing that's going on right now that you're actually healing all of humanity as you learn to heal your own inner world and then your own familial world and then your community, and then we grow and learn how to basically embody these higher aspects, right? So nothing is wrong with us. We are not broken. We are just learning how to come back into balance and into alignment, okay? So that's like a huge thing to understand as you're on this journey of being human, is just understanding that everybody has to heal, and that's just part of being human. A lot of us even have trauma from when we first came out of the womb, right? Or maybe before you even came out of the womb, you could have trauma from your mother that, you know, maybe she was struggling mentally or emotionally, financially, physically, right? All these things get ingrained into our DNA, into our template of how we're going to be human in this reality. So there is no blame because we're all victims in a way, but we can't stay victim to everything forever, or else we keep perpetuating the cycles. So there comes a time where we do get the calling. We hear, okay, I'm ready to heal. I'm ready to step into my power. I'm ready to speak my truth. I'm ready to reclaim my sovereignty. I'm ready to come back into balance. So really this week is a lot about just commanding, saying, hey, I choose different. I choose to heal. I choose to come together. I choose to listen. I choose to live my life through my heart space instead of being so rigid and being so jaded and kind of projecting my wounds onto everyone else. We're going to go within this week and really say, wait a minute, where's my power being taken? Where am I being guided where maybe I shouldn't be going, right? In the sense of like, where am I ending up where I know that I shouldn't be, right? And not that you should or shouldn't be anywhere, because really the truth is that we're always aligned to something. So we're aligned to a certain lesson. So even if you're like, oh my God, I can't believe like I'm in this situation, don't feel sorry for yourself. Don't feel like, oh my God, I'm not in alignment. It's like, no, actually the realization that you're not in alignment brings you back into alignment with yourself. So then it's like, okay, well, once you're kind of like in a certain situation, it doesn't matter how deep you are in that situation, the choice to shift out of the situation is what is going to liberate you from that. So don't worry about, don't worry about the shame or the guilt or the fear. Just step into your power and say, how can I shift out of this energy, right? How can I move forward from wherever I am? And be really gentle with yourself. Just be really kind to yourself and just pull in that feminine energy of that mother nurturing energy for yourself, for starters. Okay, so that's the first thing, is just really honestly acknowledging where you are and acknowledging where you'd like to be, and then just closing the gap between the two. Okay, so we all have so many different wounds so many different lessons, so many different layers, because it may be beyond this lifetime too, right? So you could be tapping into past life traumas that are surfacing in this lifetime, and they don't make any sense to you. You're like, what the fuck, right? Like, why am I feeling this way, or what is going on? And so it's just sitting with that and acknowledging it and allowing for it to be released out of your nervous system, out of your body, out of your DNA, right? Out of your psyche, right? So how can you nurture yourself this week? How can you step into more alignment with your true, authentic, healthy, whole, balanced self, right? So the first thing I have here, guys, is speaking our truth, standing in our power, and reclaiming our sovereignty. And that's why I was guided to sing that song as well, right? Because it's like, looking out to the world right now. If you are in Canada, or if you're, even hearing about what's going on in Canada, people are kind of stepping up right now. Their truth centers being activated. So is their solar plexus, by being able to stand in their power and speak their truth, right? And so it's like, this will not happen any longer. I will not allow for you to control and to manipulate me any longer. And that's kind of the energy on a collective, but also individual levels, right? So going into our own personal relationships and our own personal dynamics of the type of people that we've been attracting, the people that we have in our lives, how you truly feel in certain situations, in certain relationships, in a certain job. It could even be like your relationship and connection to your dynamic of your children, of like, how do I like gain control over them, not in a sense of being controlling, but how can I be that stable foundation for them? How can I guide them in what they're going through as well, right? And if we can't guide ourselves, then you're really going to struggle to guide your children. And that's why it's so important, because then what happens back to that ancestral trauma is that whatever wounds that you have that you are not ready to deal with, you basically transfer them onto your children, right? And a lot of us right now that are growing up have learned through lack, okay? So we have learned through the lack of love, through the lack of nurturing, for the lack of having ourselves taken care of. We learned through not having love, right? And so it's really, really important to offer that to yourself, and then beyond that, right? So it's not an easy journey, but it's definitely, there comes a time in your life where you are going to choose better. You are going to choose that you are worth more. You are going to realize that, damn, like, I'm going to take my power back here, because, and this is the knowledge mudra, I'm pretty sure, so it's funny that I'm doing that, like anchoring in higher knowledge, anchoring in higher awareness of like how to take care of ourselves, how to nurture ourselves, how to just the physical vessel, how do I take care of the physical vessel, how do I take care of my emotional vessel, how do I take care of my mental vessel, right? So it's like, it's a lot of work, and when you don't know where to begin, what I recommend is just listening. Like, honestly, I tell people so much. They're like, how are you 25 and you know all this stuff and you have all this knowledge and all this wisdom? And I'm like, you know what? The truth of it is that nobody listens in this reality. Nobody listens. I have always listened. Like, if anybody told me, if I had known this at your age, this is, like, I would take that advice instead of just, oh, in one ear and out the other. Okay, cool, thanks, old person with your wisdom. I'm just going to throw it out. No, it was like, you know what? I'm going to listen. If I had known this at your age, what do you wish that you knew at my age? And then I would take that in and I would say, okay, cool. Sometimes it would serve me, sometimes it wouldn't, right? And so that's where you go through your own truth center and your own inner dialogue and say, does this serve me or does this not, right? And so that's really the key to all of this, is listening. If you do not know, then listen to your intuition, listen to your heart, call in your higher self, call in guides to come and help you, right? And strengthen that connection to the universe, right? Because the universe only wants you to succeed, right? The universe only ever wants you to live your highest, most authentic life. The problem is that we don't want to listen, and we don't want to take the proper action steps in order to get us to where we want to be. And not only that, we just don't know, okay? Like, again, no blame, no shame, no guilt. It just is what it is. You didn't know what you didn't know, and then you know it, and now you know it, right? And so then you start living from that place, right? So it's really about having that beginner mindset as well, of just like surrendering and allowing and trusting, like, hey, I'm stepping on this new journey and I don't know where I'm going. It's like the Fool card in the tarot deck, right? Where it's like you're stepping out on a new journey, you don't really know what you're doing. It's like being okay, being in the unknown, surrendering to where you're at, being open to receiving knowledge and teachings and information that's going to help you to get to where you're going, right? So that's kind of the energy this week. It's like really new beginnings, honestly. And having really deep clarity on like what's serving you and what's not, what you're going to tolerate anymore and what you're not, okay? I've had to cut a few people out in the last couple days just because I'm learning to speak my truth, I'm learning to stand in my power, and I'm really learning to step forward. And the second thing that I have written here is no more nice guy, okay? Because like, yeah, being nice is important, like, but when you're being affected negatively because of your kindness, it becomes a problem, right? And so for me, it was starting to become a problem, because then it was like, wait a minute, I don't have proper boundaries up. Wait a minute, you're gonna go and say all this stuff and do all this stuff, and I'm just supposed to like sit here and be like, yeah, come on into my shop and have a conversation with me now. It's like, sorry, but I'm actually gonna have strong boundaries now, and you're not welcome here, because I don't allow people to manipulate me, tell lies about me, try to control me, try to have power over me. And if you're saying that that's what I'm doing, there's the door. Go do that with somebody else, because I don't have it in me anymore to be nice in that way. It's like, you know what? I've let you freaking play mind games. I've let you mess around with my feelings. And now it's just like, vamos, thank you, move along, I have better things to do. So that's kind of the energy this week too, is just like having seriously strong boundaries, and just like realizing, like deep realization is really what it is. It's not about not being nice anymore. Like, you know, you can still be nice, but it's just like not being that pushover, not allowing people to treat you shitty and then thinking that they can just come waltz right in and have conversation with you like nothing ever happened. Right? It's like, no, I see you. I really see you. I see the truth. I see what's going on. And not that I want to get, worked up and have to, open my throat chakra like I did. But you know what? People need to know as well that you need to be respectful, and you need to be kind, and you need to be conscious and aware of the energy that you're putting out into the universe, right? So having that awareness, even just within yourself, allows for you to create these stronger boundaries. Be like, holy shit, I never really realized how much energy that you were taking from me, or how much energy I was giving to you. And it's just choosing to not do that anymore. And it could just be a repetitive thought too, right? Like, it doesn't have to come out as a physical person, like manifested outside of you having this conversation. It could just be your own inner conflict as well, right? So it's like, you know what, I'm not going to play into that victim mentality anymore. I'm not going to keep feeling like I'm worthless. I'm not going to keep thinking that I'm not good enough. I'm not going to keep having these limiting beliefs that are only stopping me from what I truly want and desire, and to live a fulfilling life, right? It's like, oh, wait a minute, if I just nip these lessons in the bud and I go, wait a minute, I don't want to do that anymore, I choose different, and then do it, your entire reality shifts, right? So that's really the beauty of strong boundaries, is like not allowing for people to come into your field, not allowing for them to come into your life and take over everything, and then be like, wait a minute, you're the problem. I'm like, problem? Well, for starters, there really wasn't a problem until you're saying there's a problem, and now you're telling me that I'm the problem. So seems to me like there's a little bit of work to be done on your part. And it's not about projecting too, right? It's about me consciously having that awareness of like, I know who I am, I know my truth, I know what I'm about, and really holding that line and holding the line. That reminds me of the Ottawa convoys going on right now too, right? Like, they're holding that line, they're holding that boundary, they're speaking up, they're standing in their power, they're saying, hey, no more. And this isn't just for them, this is for the entire world, right? Like, this is like, we're pretty free in Canada, and if Canada's losing their freedoms, then well, that shows you a lot about the state of the world and where other people are at, what other countries are having to deal with. Like, it's really, really sad and unfortunate, to be honest, but we're being liberated, right? So this is the process. And in order for us to actually liberate ourselves, we have to do our inner work. We have to realize, hey, you know what? This may have served me in the past, but it's not anymore, and I'm kind of over it. So I'm going to move forward, right? Like, it's a very neutral energy, right? Like, it's not like, oh, I'm mad and I'm angry. It's just like, hey, I see you. I see things for how they really are, and I'm just going to keep living my beautiful life that I live, instead of feeding my energy into trying to prove myself, into trying to make you hear what I have to say, into anything, because I know the truth. I know my truth, right? So learning your truth, learning what you stand for, unwrapping your beliefs and saying, wait a minute, is this really what I care about, or is this just what the government programmed into my mind, or is this what my mom programmed into me, or is this what my teacher from the 3rd grade programmed into me, or is this what my coach from hockey programmed into me, or is this from, asking where these truths come from and how do they feel in your body, right? So you're really being asked to strip away just what's not serving you anymore, okay? Um, so the first thing I have on here that I didn't read was releasing deep past life trauma and contracts, guys. So this is what it's all about. This is why we're doing all this work, is because we're releasing past life contracts, okay? So there may have been something that has happened in a previous lifetime that you're still cleaning that up. So it's like when you're like, oh my God, why do I keep attracting this, or why do I keep attracting that? There is a deep lesson for you to learn here, right? And so if you say you have a situation over here and you're like, okay, well, that's not serving me anymore and I'm going to move forward. And then you go to the next and then you're like, holy shit, why this is the same lesson but in a different person. So that's showing you that you didn't learn that lesson yet, right? Because you're still manifesting that lesson. So it's like, okay. And it can happen as many times as it needs until we listen, right? And so going back to that is like, are you listening, right? Listening to what's serving you, listening to what's not, listening to what feels good in your body, listening to what makes you uncomfortable, right? And sometimes you have to feel uncomfortable in order to liberate yourself too, right? Because sometimes we get comfortable in the unhealthy stuff, in the unhealthy dynamics, and then it's like, well, I still get to play the part, I don't have to take responsibility for my shit, so it kind of works for me and it's kind of serving me. But again, it's the 1 foot in one world and 1 foot in the other. If you're wanting more, if you're wanting to break free, then you can't stay where you are in that comfort zone, right? It's again that Fool card, stepping into the unknown, right? Starting a new journey, starting a new path, right? Okay, so what else do we have? So realizing our true power, standing up and speaking our truth, inner revolution of our authentic truth, right? So again, I've already said this, but going within and having that inner revolution, there's an outer revolution happening right now. Canada sparked it off and now it's going all over the world. I know that in Australia, they're driving to Canberra, which is the capital, and they're actually doing the exact same thing there. There's Americans that are doing it. There's people all over the world right now that are standing up and speaking out and saying no more and holding the line and holding the boundary, right? So if you look out into the external world, the exact same thing is happening within us right now, okay? So going within to realize, where are our boundaries? What do we want? What is our desire, right? Coming together in unity and freedom, not only externally, but internally as well, right? So that's a little bit more work on the individual level, right? So it's like really deep diving into, your own psyche, your own emotions, your own habits every single day, thinking about, bringing awareness to what thoughts you're having, what food you're eating, how you're feeling, not just like your emotions, but your physical body. Like, are you depleted? Do you have energy? Really inquiring about these things, because a lot of us get stuck in these lower energies and think that that's just life. And that is not just life. It's life if we choose it to be, but there's always a way to step beyond that limitation, right? So that's kind of where connecting to our inner truth and our authentic self is going to allow for a revolution for ourselves, right? So say you've never stepped foot in a gym, And you're like, well, Aurora, like, I don't even know where to begin. That's no problem. You just need to start. That's it. Because as you choose better, you will attract better. So if you're like, hey, I'm going to go get a gym membership and I'm going to go and try this out, actually show up for yourself, actually put the effort in, actually listen to people, go to people that have the expertise that you don't, and listen and learn from them, right? So choose to step into that energy and to actually nurture and fuel yourself and listen. I'll keep saying it, listen, 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 because it's really like the key, right? Because things are ever changing, things are ever evolving, and you're going from one place to the next. Do you know if you're carrying someone else's energy or not, right? Do you know if the thoughts that you're thinking are yours or someone else's, right? Like, these are the very basic foundational understandings of yourself that you're going to have in order for you to step into a more fulfilling, aligned life. Because if you're not going to acknowledge what isn't flowing in your life, how are you supposed to, connect back into the flow and into the alignment, right? Um, Funny, just as I said that. So I have coming back into alignment. So receiving the mental and emotional signs as well as taking action. So there is this like balance of the masculine and feminine energy. So actually, I skipped over this, so I am going to go into it real quick. So we have the divine masculine energy is coming online, okay? So this protection energy, everybody stepping up and taking action and speaking their truth. This is very divine masculine energy, just to protect us, to connect us into a safe reality, right? Safety, that's huge for the divine masculine, is to provide safety and a space for the feminine to exist within that space, right? So for the divine masculine, we have assertiveness, action oriented, disciplined, boundaries, confidence, objectivity, logic and analysis, survival, warrior, and it's also yang energy. And then the divine feminine is rising as well. So that's why the divine masculine's coming online to support, to provide a container for the divine feminine to rise, right? And the divine feminine is intuitive, heart-centered, compassion, wise, accepting, forgiving, collaborative, reflective, creative, sensual, kind, and gentle. So most of us are cut off from the divine feminine, right? And so this is because we live in a very patriarchal world and it's not supported. You have to adapt in order to survive. So we have adapted to become very wounded masculine energy. And that is why, like resting and just being and creating and nurturing and kindness and compassion and all these things are not in our society at all, like that's why, because we live in a patriarchal world and all of that has been stripped. So that's why everything's so rigid. That's why everything's so on a time constraint. That's why it's like bop, 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 bop. And we're breaking out of that. So we're reclaiming our masculine energy and reclaiming our feminine energy so that we can actually allow for those energies to dance with one another, so that the masculine has its purpose and the feminine has its purpose, and we're able to watch the ever expanding flow and rise of that energy. It's also called Kundalini energy, right? When our masculine and feminine energy are activated within our base and we're able to allow for that to crawl up our spine and then connect us to universal consciousness, and then to create this flow, this toroidal field, activating our Merkaba, activating our light body, our multidimensional vehicle, so that we're able to move through time and space consciously, right? That's the whole point of all of this, right? So the divine masculine energy is coming online, which are those strong boundaries, which is that protection energy, action oriented. And then we have the feminine that is safe to be, just safe to be, safe to relax into that, safe to actually care again, safe to actually want to nurture yourself again. Because it's like, you know what, there's no point in nurturing myself because I have this cognitive dissonance with reality, so there's no point in trying to change my inner world when my outer world's stuck like that. But that's why it's like allowing that nurturing energy within yourself first, because you can't look outside for any answers anymore. You have to go within, because it's way too confusing. There's way too many lies out there. And if we're not connected to our truth, then we're going to get really confused. And that's where people get stuck in the fourth dimension, which is the mind, right? And that's where they have so many concepts that they have no idea what to believe and what not to believe. That's how the power that be has power over us. They've done it in all areas of life. They've done it in finances. They've done it in just our food in general. They've done it with our family dynamics. They've done it in all the ways so that we're lost, so that we're confused, so that we don't have a tribe, so that we don't know what we're fucking doing. And there's no more of that anymore. Humanity's awakening, and we're all going to come together and unify. And of course, this is over time, right? But if we each choose to revolutionize our inner world today, then we can see the result externally much quicker, right? And to be able to actually provide a safe space for people to just surrender, to just be, right? Okay, so going back to that, coming back into alignment. So we're going to be receiving the mental and emotional signs. So that's the feminine, receiving the mental and emotional signs, and then as well as taking action. So the taking action part is the masculine, and the feminine is actually just listening to where to take action, and then the masculine takes the action, right? So that's really the dynamic that we're learning to step into. So we have things, people, and situations that used to have power over us is dissolving, and that power is coming back to you. And what to do with that energy is self-expression, creativity, and discipline. So really focusing on, like, how can I speak my truth? How can I stand in my power? How can I really utilize all this amazing knowledge and wisdom that I've picked up over time and get creative with it? And then you need the discipline to actually execute that, right? It's one thing to want to do these certain things. It's another thing to actually do them, right? So it's like having that balance, taking your power back, and just dissolving things that have power over you, just saying no more, right? It's that simple. No, thank you. Move along. It's really that simple. But of course, it's not that simple, right? It really depends on your situation and where you're at, and the tools that you have, and the support that you have, and the help that you have, right? So that's all I got for this week, but I wanted to go into that November 22nd week. So the first thing I have here is stepping into our sovereignty, our power, and our truth, which is something that I already have spoken of, right? But again, we're learning to take our sovereignty back. We're learning how to take our power back, and we're learning what our truth even is, right? So we're focusing on letting go of what we can't control, and our wisdom is being activated to know the difference. Okay, so that's like the serenity prayer, right? So that's like, God grant me the strength to, actually don't even know the serenity prayer. The strength for this, the da-da-da, and the wisdom to know the difference, basically, of the things you can change and the things that you can't change, right? So it's like being able to really take action on what it is that you do have power over, and releasing what you don't have power over. We have deep karmic releases, activating and highlighting the mental and emotional bodies, bringing to the surface our fears, doubts, unworthiness, limiting or sabotaging beliefs, right? So as we clear our karmic ties to certain thought patterns, to certain relationships, to certain emotions, to certain connections, and we heal that part of ourselves. So the parts of ourselves that are afraid, the parts of ourselves that doubt ourselves, the parts of ourselves that feel we're not worthy, the parts of ourselves that limit ourselves or sabotage ourselves, right? That's kind of what'll be surfacing this week, right? But we're being very supported in that balance of the divine feminine and masculine to just be able to move through it, right? So November, December, January, February. So this was a couple months ago now, right? So probably 2.5 months ago that all of this was coming up. So think about what was going on 2.5 months ago as well, as you're kind of moving through this. And it was just 34 on the time. Because you could be revisiting those exact same patterns, but at a level where you're ready to release them, right? So you maybe needed those extra 2.5 months to really realize and have full clarity, and now you're just being, like, guided. You're just like, oh yeah, this is what I need to do. Oh great, awesome, this is what I need to do. And if you aren't feeling that way, then you're being invited to ask for that clarity. Okay. Whew. So we have organic template is being activated within. Okay, so our organic template, which is our spiritual technology, which is our intuition, right? Like it's our body. It's literally our body. The organic template is our body. And so that's why really purifying, really giving ourselves good foods, water, exercising, like the very basics, that's what we're being called back to. Because that's how we're going to be strong. That's how we're going to have the strength in order to actually process our emotions, upgrade our physical body, release what's not serving us. Like, healing is a very tiring thing. It really is. It takes a lot out of you, and that's why it's so important to nurture yourself through this process, right? Let's see, language equals understanding. So we're in a complex game and we are learning the language. So language is how they've controlled us for a long time, actually. Government actually means govern is to control, and then government is the mind. So to control the mind. I just listened to that the other day and I thought, holy shit, of course, right? So when you look into the etymology of words, which is just the origin of words, where they come from and what they truly mean, this is our barrier right now for humans in the power that's controlling us, because they use language to control us, okay? So they use the word mandate to make it think that it's a law and that we have to follow it. There is no law in any of this COVID shit, okay? Like, there is no law. And so that's why we're breaking out of that, is just to say, wait a minute, you can't take our sovereignty. And thank you to the indigenous of the world that have been standing in their sovereignty and in their truth forever, since they came and took everything away from you. Like, I honor you and I thank you for that, because we wouldn't be here today trying to liberate ourselves if you guys didn't hold down the line, right? We would be fucked, right? So I'm very grateful. Well, maybe we wouldn't, but I'm just very grateful for all the pain and all the suffering that all peoples have had to go through for us to get to this point, for us to really say, hey, no more, because they've been controlling us and they've been manipulating us for so long that we don't even have any idea, okay? So that's the scary thing. So we're waking up to the fact that we have been manipulated and we have been controlled, and that's why standing up, speaking our truth, standing in our sovereignty, reclaiming our sovereignty, saying, no, you cannot control me and you cannot tell me what to do with my body. Awesome, cool. And then the last thing I want to say here, because there's a lot, but I don't feel like going through it all. So creating new neural pathways, guys. So all this work is helping our physiological body, like our physical body, to rewire and create new neural pathways. And neural pathways are created in our brain when we're learning something new. So that's why there's always that learning curve with something, or where we have to repeat it over and over in order to reprogram our mind, right? And they always talk about how we have less neuroplasticity as we grow older. But the reason we have less neuroplasticity as we grow older is because we're not nurturing our creativity, right? So because that divine feminine has been taken out and they want us to basically be a cog in the machine. So the truth of it is that we don't have as much neuroplasticity when we stop using our neuroplasticity, when we stop learning, when we stop taking in new information, when we stop being creative, when we start getting stagnated and looking at it in a one-track mindset and having the same thoughts and the same beliefs and the same emotions every single day. That's when our neuroplasticity starts to kind of stay rigid, right? Stay rigid in the same thoughts and the same patterns and the same emotions. And so that's why getting creative with yourself, with just drawing, with doing whatever it is that's creative for you, that's why it's so important, because we're creating new neural pathways in the brain. So activating our choice and free will by showing us something different. So it is our choice where we may roam, right? And that's the thing, is that it's like the analogy of the elephant that is strapped to the chair since it was little, and then it grows up and it still thinks that it's strapped to the chair, but it doesn't realize that it's grown and that it can go anytime that it wants, right? So that's kind of where humanity's at, is realizing, wait a minute, we've been strapped to this chair that I can just walk away from at any time, right? And so people are having, it was 4004, people are having these realizations and taking their power back and saying no more. So it really is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Okay, let's pull some cards for the week, guys. We're first going to pull from the activation, or the sacred geometry activation. So what wants to come through today? So tantric journey. The frequency of tantric journey helps us to unlock the hidden knowledge and wisdom that we intrinsically hold about how to reach a state of wholeness and completion through our sensual experiences with ourselves and with another. Perfect. So I actually am going to read that right out of the book today, because I'm being guided, and that you guys really need to hear this. So the journey into Tantra is about expansion of consciousness. The word Tantra can be translated as that which goes on expanding. It primarily uses the senses as a pathway towards focusing the mind and ultimately letting go of that mind to reach a state of internal oneness. Through sexual sensation, thought someone was coming inside, one of the most powerful sensations humans can experience, we can achieve a state of union within ourselves or with another. As spiritual beings in a corporeal vehicle, we can access our multidimensional nature through our physical body, letting our senses guide us into a vast universe that lies right beneath our skin. So just to clarify this, guys, so Tantra is basically sex magic, the study of sex. And so not just sex, though, because everything is masculine and feminine. This is why I wanted to read this, so that we could get a clear understanding, and I didn't have to explain it all, but here I am doing it anyway, because there's that masculine and the feminine energy, and when it is balanced, that's that kundalini rising that I just talked to you guys about. So what it is being able to tap into our senses. So our physical, like our eyes, our smell, our touch, our taste, our hearing. And that's the same with connecting us to our intuition. The reason it's so important to connect into the sensual aspect of reality is because that's our connection to source, to our higher selves. That's when we're in full alignment with who we truly are. So we're being asked to balance out the masculine and balance out the feminine, and that'll allow for our kundalini to rise, for our life force energy to actually activate our physical body, okay? So I say sexual energy, but sexual energy is also just creative energy, okay? So you don't have to necessarily use your sexual energy like physically, but you can use it in creativity as well. But also using your sexual energy to release traumas will help you as well. So there's this ancient Egyptian symbol called the Ankh, okay? Pardon my really bad art skills, okay, but you're gonna get the gist of it. So you basically have the cross. Oh, my headphone fell out. You basically have the cross, and then you have the connection. So I'm gonna show you my really bad drawing. So you basically say this is the cross, okay? Like that would represent Jesus on the cross here, crucified. That's the masculine energy here. And then this is the feminine energy. This is source energy connecting. So this is actually called an Ankh, A-N-K. And you can look more into it and learn about it. So this is actually like the mystical teachings back like hundreds of that, or not hundreds of thousands, but well, maybe, but thousands of years ago, where they would teach you how to use your sexual energy to connect to source, to connect to your higher self. And that's why sexual energy has been so suppressed in the human collective, is because it's our fucking power, guys. It's our power. That's why they're taking it away, and that's why they demonize it, and that's why they put shame, and that's why they put fear, and they put guilt, and they put all these things on it, so that we don't actually access our power, right? So our connection back to source also represents the halo, right? You know how Jesus and all the disciples and all these higher beings have a halo around them? That is connection to source as well. That's connection to the higher realms, the divine feminine, right? Okay, back to reading. Okay, so the tantric journey image shows the intersecting triangles as a reference to the union between the masculine and the feminine, where the upward triangle represents the masculine and the downward triangle the feminine. The purple represents the connection to source as the basis of our expanding consciousness. The petals and the orange center represent the second chakra, the seat for our sexual expression as well as our emotions and our creativity. The swirling circles, the ones in the center and the larger ones in the background, represent the part of our origin that is off planet. Blue is associated with expression of truth. The Shri Yantra is visible in the center as a representation of the integration that takes place through union. Squares represent the form-based world that we experience as spiritual beings in a physical body. Okay, guys, so this is deep liberation that's going on this week, and that's why this card came up, and that's why I read that. So it's really all about balancing our sexual energy, our creative energy, our masculine and feminine energies. Okay, so what else wants to come through with this tantric journey card here? Gaia. The frequency of Gaia reminds us that we are infinitely connected to one another, just as we are the Great Mother and to the universe that birthed us all. Perfect. So also understanding that it's not all about, the pleasure. It's also about the pain, right? In order for us to access the pleasure, we have to process the pain. And Gaia is our mother here, our Mother Earth. She supports us. She loves us. She nourishes us. She gives us everything that we need. So whenever you're not sure how to nourish yourself, how to love yourself, go out and connect with nature and listen, and the universe will provide the answers for you. Okay? What else wants to come through? So we have authority. The frequency of authority reminds us that true authority is powerful, directed, and realized, yet receptive, wise, and loving. Perfect, because this is all about questioning authority, right? The people that have power over us, powerful, directed, and realized, yet receptive, wise, and loving. So this is about bringing in the feminine into authority, allowing the feminine to come back into authority instead of the belligerent, crazy, intense shit going on out in the world. It's like, wait a minute, you can't control an animal. If an animal is going to freak out, that animal needs to freaking freak out. And the more that you try to control it, the closer to having to tranquilize it you're going to get, because it's just going to go ballistic, right? So it's like questioning authority and wondering why we are not seen as equal. Why are we less than, right? When all these people are just humans humaning that maybe went and got a degree here and there or whatever, which it's not to dismiss them. It's just to say, stop giving your power away to people with authority. And then synergy. The frequency of synergy supports our allowance and acceptance of not so obvious, never seen before combinations and unions that result in new ways of functioning, working, thinking, relating, loving, and being. It reminds us to embrace the unfamiliar so that new yet exciting co-creations can give birth to a new reality. There's another birth card. So we have a birth here, and then we have the actual co-creation of that birth, okay? So we have the physical side of it, we have the energetic side of it, and then we have you right here in the center creating, okay? And then you have your authority card as well. So I'm also hearing to give your authority to spirit. Connect to spirit as your new authority, because that's what is going to guide you through to be able to actually receive the true divine guidance that you need right now, okay? So alchemy, the frequency of alchemy activates our magical ability and remembrance of the magic that we all hold inside. Each one of us has the potential to access the ancient knowledge that allowed the true alchemist to perform the miracles of transmutation. Perfect. And we're learning how to transmute our lower energies into higher energies through our sensual, sexual energy, through the balance of the masculine and the feminine, through connecting to our senses and really having that awareness of like, where's my energy? How am I feeling today? Where's my power today? Am I speaking my truth? Am I connected to my truth? Do I know my truth? What thoughts am I thinking? Whose thoughts am I thinking? Things like this, right? And then we have birthing it into a new reality, the Gaia, the actual physical side of it, and then synergy, which is the energetic. So you started off in the energetic and then it manifests into the physical. So that's amazing. That's so cool. Okay, one more here. Perception. The frequency of perception supports our natural curiosity, moving us beyond our comfort zone to find the edges of what we perceive as real and to take a good, hard, deep look at it. So questioning your reality, questioning what's real and what's not, right? And that's why going within and really connecting to your own inner truth and listening to the signs of the universe to guide you, because the universe will provide for you, okay? It's just about learning to, again, surrender and listen and actually have the awareness to be able to receive that information. Okay, now let's go into the Soul's Journey deck here. Ooh, that one came right out. Honesty. I can't always expect the truth from others, but I can expect it from myself. How perfect is that? I can't always expect the truth from others, but I can accept it from myself. And that's really what we're learning to step into now. It's like, you know what? Other people's problems are other people's problems, and I can't fix everyone, so I'm just gonna sit here and focus on discipline, focus on what do I have power over, what do I have control over, cutting people off, putting boundaries up, saying no more. Not necessarily people either, the thoughts, the emotions, different things like that. Like if you're really struggling with these repetitive thoughts or these repetitive feelings, have the discipline to actually listen to those feelings and ask why you're having them. What are they connected to? Where do they come from, right? So discipline, I can accomplish what I set my mind to. That's so perfect. Honesty and discipline. So what else wants to come through for this week? Honesty and discipline. So being honest with yourself and where you need to start taking action and where you need to stop taking action. Love. I commit to the practice of seeing the good in all things, right? So then if you're uncertain of a decision that you have to make, ask yourself, is this made from love or is this made from fear? So that is the only question you really need to ask yourself. Am I making this decision from love or am I making this decision from fear? And then listen and surrender and ask yourself again until you know for sure. Okay? And then we have freedom and perseverance. So freedom, I possess the power and the free will to create my own happiness. So liberating ourselves, realizing we can live the life that we desire. And perseverance, I know that I can do whatever I set my mind to. So there's a lot of mental energy here of like really supporting us. So discipline is I can accomplish what I set my mind to. And perseverance is I know that I can do whatever I set my mind to. So that's pretty cool. There's a lot of purple energy as well coming in here, which is that crown, third eye energy. Okay, so lots of purple and lots of blues as well, right? And then this love one has that orangey red, so that's like really being connected to the base and the sacral. But we also have the truth. We also have that third eye and crown activation, so that perspective shift, that connection to source, to higher self, to God. Really a lot of mental energy coming in right now. So a lot of supportive mental energy, right? So it's like just kind of like deciding, like making a decision of this is who I am. This is truly who I am, right? Envy, I am the same as everybody, but with different challenges, and it was reversed. So releasing envy as well, right? So connecting us to this solar plexus chakra as well of our worth and our of our worthiness, right? Of knowing that we are worthy, of that we are intrinsically worthy. And if you don't feel worthy, then it's about going down and deep diving into that and understanding, why don't I feel worthy? And envy was reversed. So it's like, normally I would say, oh, what are you jealous of and what can't you have, or what do you feel that you can't have? But it's really just being released this week of just like, you know what? Everyone has their own problems. Everyone has their own path. And I'm just going to stay focused and in my own lane to realize like that this is where my power lies. I cannot sit here and wish that I was somewhere that I'm not, because I'm never going to get to where I really want to be, right? And then growth. I want to expand my consciousness and my awareness. So keep coming back to growth. Keep coming back to wanting to expand your awareness, right? And your understanding and your perception. Okay, last one. Indecision. I use my intuition in all aspects of life, and it was reversed, okay, guys? So this would be releasing indecision, okay? Which is what I literally just said, was like, make a choice, make a decision. That is where your power lies. Your power lies in the fact that you are draining it if you're not making a decision, if you're being indecisive. The second that you decide, okay, this is what I want, this is what I'm going to do, and take that, disciplined route and that focused route, it will come. Okay, so the only thing that's stopping you is indecision. It was just 55:44 on the time. Okay, and then I want to also just do the universe has your back just to end it off. 55:55. So just to end it off with the universe has your back. What does the universe want to remind you this week? My happiness is a direct reflection of my level of the faith in the universe. So my happiness is a direct reflection of my level of faith in the universe. So if you are not in this energy of happiness, of joy, of connection, then it's like you're not trusting. So it's like, why not? Are you not trusting yourself? Are you not trusting this? Are you not trusting that? What are you not trusting? And learn to transmute that and shift that into higher level of awareness of trust. I trust that all that is meant for me will come to me, because if you stay in this uncertain energy of like this, I don't trust this, that, whatever, you're going to keep manifesting more of that. So there has to come a point where you realize that you have to learn how to trust, and you have to learn how to connect to your own inner guidance, and that the universe does support you. So it all depends on how much you're trusting as to how much you're succeeding. So my capacity to tune into the energy of love gives me the words I need when I'm ready to speak up, the compassion that I need when it is time to forgive, and the power I need when I am lost. So in order to connect to love, my capacity to tune into love, into the energy of love, gives me the words I need when I'm ready to speak up, the compassion I need when it's time to forgive, and the power I need when I am lost. The universe has my back. That's the last card. That's so perfect, because that's the deck. That's the deck. Like the box. All right, so keep connecting into love. Keep asking yourself, how can I nurture myself? How can I take action? What do I need to do next? Keep listening. The moment I realign with love, clear direction is presented to me. So you could literally just declare, and look, this kind of looks like the sacrum, the hips. So it's your foundation. So what is your foundation? Is it on love or is it on fear? So when you realign with love, you gain clear direction right away. So ask yourself, how do I need to love? When I accept the love of the universe as my primary teacher, I will always be guided back to the light. So maybe this week we're really being guided to connect more to our light, connect more to our love instead of our darker aspects. It's like, you know what? Show me the way, universe. Show me the love I deserve. Show me how to get there. I'm listening. I'm ready. So this week we're really stepping into our power. We're really speaking our truth, and we're reclaiming our sovereignty, okay? So again, this is not an easy road, but you are more than capable, and you have the utmost potential within you as long as you realize it. Okay, guys, so I'm sending you so much love. I hope that you enjoyed this energy update this week. If you want to book in a one-on-one session, I'll be posting links down below so that you can do that if you're needing a little bit extra support, a little bit extra guidance, a little bit extra awareness. Then I welcome you to book a session with me. I'm also doing sound baths here as well 3 times a week, so check that out on my Facebook page, Translucent Truth Yoga. And yeah, I hope you guys have an amazing week, and I will see you next week. Namaste.